Okay, here I am back in the kitchen yet again, and today it's going to be Swiss steak. All right, we're going to trim the fat off of the steaks. All right, now we're adding some salt to the flour. All right, and a teaspoon of black pepper, and now we have the flour dredge complete. Okay, now we're going to whisk it all together, get it all thoroughly blended. Now we're going to take each piece of the beef and we're going to coat it and set it aside. Okay, now we're going to give it a second coat, which is critical because we want a crunchy coating. That's one of the characteristics of Swiss steak. Okay, now we'll start preparing the veggies. And the celery. Okay, now I'm preparing the shallot. The shallot is basically an onion, but Maria prefers these over regular onions because they're sweeter. Okay, and for Swiss steak, the onions, shallots, need to be minced. And shallots, if you have any doubt, they're onions. Okay, and then the tomatoes, we're using aroma, and we're gonna slice this up. Okay, next we'll get, oh, there we go, get some flame. Ready to cook the meat. A little olive oil. While I'm waiting for the olive oil to come to temperature, it's time for a break. Be right back. Okay, break time over. Now it's time to put the meat into the oil and let the cooking begin to brown it. Okay, the browning looks pretty good. Turn that over and let the other side go. Okay, we got the second half of the meat, last two pieces on, getting them their final turn. I'll let those brown up a little bit more. Okay, you're going to add a little more salt. This is a little sea salt. Okay, so we'll take the last one off and we'll set those in that pan for now. We're going to take the beef base, which was made from this right here, and we're going to add it back into the olive oil. Okay, now we're going to work on the Swiss steak broth. We're going to start with Worcestershire with a tablespoon. Alright, so there's a tablespoon. Alright, next, the rest of the seasonings. So we're going to have about a teaspoon of Italian seasoning. Alright, we're going to do another teaspoon of the paprika. To add a little heat, we're going to go with a half teaspoon of cayenne. There we go. Okay, now that all the ingredients and spices, everything's in there, we're going to whisk this around and mix it up while it's still on an open flame. Next ingredient is bacon, but since we don't typically use bacon, we're using bacon bits. 1 tablespoon is what's called for, but let's do 2. Okay, we're going to stir the bacon in, get all this mixed up well. Can you smell this? Oh man, it's amazing. Alright, now we're going to prepare the potatoes. These will go into the Dutch oven. It goes into the oven. And yeah, just turn the heat off, giving it a final spin. Now we're going to put the meat back in before it goes in the oven. Okay, now we're going to add the tomato, or potatoes, not tomatoes, in the Dutch oven. All right, we get the carrots in there. Okay, now we'll put the lid on. It's ready to go in the oven. Okay, the oven is already preheated to 350. We're going to put this on the middle rack, like so. Stay in for about an hour and a half or until the meat is tender. So it's time for another break for the chef. During the break, while waiting for the meat to finish cooking, I started this. Okay, as the meat's about to get ready, we'll get some crescent rolls out here going.
This is Sean's.
All right. It's done. Oh, look at that. Who's coming over? Okay, so this is the tomato mixture with all the vegetables we chopped. We're adding that now into the broth. There we go. And the biscuits are almost ready. And the sauce is definitely ready. All right. Everything is on the table. Time to eat. Okay, and there's the finished product.